the Marvel Legends 60th Anniversary Iron Spider. Is it good? I would say that it's decent. Decent to good. Here's why. And the first thing we're going to start off with is the overall aesthetic. The overall aesthetic, at first, I thought was great, but then it kind of went down to good as I looked at it even more. Now, I'm going to start off with some positive stuff. Take them off the stand real quick so you can see them. The first thing that I would say is that even though this figure is shiny, that's okay because he's in a suit of armor. It's his Iron Spider suit. So that works out great for this figure. I think the overall proportioning generally is pretty good. It's a nice slender build for, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a slender character. Now the things that bug me a little bit. First thing is here. If you see his head, his jaw is like really wide and his neck is skinny. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. Was he ever drawn like that in the comic consistently? I don't think his jaw is supposed to be that much wider than his neck. But I could be bugging. Y'all could let me know. Also, another thing I'll give this is, unlike a lot of the Spider-Man figures that have been coming out recently, he doesn't have droopy shoulders. Yes, his shoulders are high up where they're supposed to be. So that looks nice. But, for every good thing, it seems to be a little mark on a report card, so to speak. So the next thing is, I don't know if you guys can see this in the video, but the plastic used here and the plastic used for the legs and the arms are different. So the torso is different to the legs and the arms. Basically, the torso uses this more marbly, almost metallic looking plastic, which looks awesome. I think the whole figure should have been done in this plastic on the torso. And this other plastic it's a very similar color, but under these bright video lights, I can definitely see the color difference. I'm not sure, I can't really see it on the camera, so you guys are just gonna have to take my word for it. But if you can see it, good. It uses they're both maroon, but the one on the torso is more metallic-ish, marbly maroon. And I think the maroon color on the torso would have worked good for the whole body. So that's another thing that kind of sucks. It's kind of mismatched, but it's not so bad that it's egregious. Now, a positive is that if you look at the Spider logo, all the gold is very clean. It is very clean. And the Spider logo is sculpted on, which is always a plus. I love when they sculpt on like logos, whether it be like the Superman emblem or like in this case the Spider emblem. Sculpted on emblem is always going to be a plus. And another thing, and this is not a knock against the figure, I wish the arms were the same color gold as on the Spider and on the gauntlets and on the ankles. But it's not. It's more of a plasticky color and it looks kind of cheap. So that's not too good. But other than that, I think it's a solid looking figure. It doesn't look horrible by any means, but it's just that it could improve a lot more. And one last thing before we move on to articulation. I feel like the legs don't have a lot of muscle definition to them. And they're a bit slender. It should definitely have more muscle definition. Because in the comics, even though they're wearing these skin tight suits and whatnot, you can still see all this. I mean, even though in real life, you wouldn't be able to see all the definition in the muscles, even with a skin tight suit. In the comics, that's how they're drawn, and you can't really see a whole lot of muscle definition here. So, legs a bit thicker. I think that his top half of the body is pretty good, but the legs being the quads and the thighs being a little bit thicker would go a long way for this figure, I think. And also, of course, more muscle definition in general. But overall, solid. Aesthetic is pretty solid. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Could definitely improve. But this is also better than the previous release, which I don't have. One release I wish I did have is from the Reveltech, so I could compare.
If I had one! Sorry.
Anyways, though, on to articulation. For the head, he can look down that far. He can look up that far. It turns all the way around, and you get a little bit of side to side. For the arms, they go all the way around. Wait, excuse me, gotta move it from that leg. They go out about that far. Can't go up any higher than that. Cut at the bicep. Double hinge elbow works wonderfully. And a wrist hinge. So arms are pretty good. And also you could bring them, no, you can't really bring them. You could bring them forward together fairly decently. It's a little, I guess, butterfly joint right there. I don't know why they call it that. For his torso, he can crunch forward like that far and crunch back about that far, which isn't, both of those are very mediocre. I'm surprised they couldn't do a better ab crunch. You get a twist at the waist, which is fine, but it breaks the sculpt and that doesn't look the best. The paint goes all the way through, so that's a plus. But yeah, it doesn't crunch forward as much as it should be able to. And it leans back a little bit better, but yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired. For his legs, they go out about that far, almost splits, which is pretty good. We always want to go for the splits when it comes to Spider-Man. Kicks forward about that far. You get a cut at the thigh. Double jointed knee. Works fine. And of course, all this is penless joints. And get a nice ankle rocker. No boot cut, thank goodness, because boot cuts break the sculpt when you use them, and it looks horrible. It can go down that far. You can go up about that far, so decent. You do get a little boot cut, but you see, this works perfectly because it doesn't break the sculpt. So if you want to swivel at the bottom, there you go. For his spider legs, you get a hinge. Get a hinge right here. This is not a joint right here. This is, and another joint right here. And of course, where it plugs into his back right here, you can turn it and swivel it. Which is fine, I suppose, but I think each segment to the arm should have been articulated, but there's only like 2 segments to the arm that are articulated. That's a disappointment. And also, another thing I have to say about this, but I'll save it for the accessory. So typically, I would take a bunch of pictures of the accessories, like the hands, as I've done in the past 3 videos. But guess what? This guy only comes with an extra. He only comes with the web shooting hands, and also I mentioned previously the legs that go on his back. I wasn't sure if I should count those as accessories because that's a part of his costume. Like, to give an Iron Spider figure, if they was to give us an Iron Spider figure without the legs, that would have been like, huh? That's like it's pretty much like giving Superman a Superman figure without his cape. And you know that specific costume design has a cape, and most of the designs do have a cape. So unless it's like the black suit, the Return of Superman when he came back from the dead suit, like, he should always have a cape. And what I'm trying to say here is, I'm not even. Well, I already said it. I don't know if I should count those legs as an accessory, as a part of his design. Does he always have the Iron Spider legs out? No, he doesn't. But that's like a signature thing of his. You can't not include that with him. So all he comes with, really, technically, is an extra pair of web shooting hands. And of course, he has the fist hands, which I had on him throughout the large majority of the video. But yeah, that's pretty disappointing. And also, I'm gonna save it for closing thoughts. Overall, I would say this is a solid release, and I would say go pick them up. I want you as the consumer to consider a couple things before you pick this guy up. One, consider that this figure is at the $30 range now. So now it's creeping up on some, like if you collect SH Figure Arts figures, like some of the cheaper SH Figure Arts figures are $36, $35, and you're getting way more accessories with them than you did with this guy. You only got 2 pairs of web shooter hands, and like I said, I don't know if I don't technically think I should count the legs, because he should come with the legs anyways, the spider legs, that is. So there's that to consider. Also, another thing to consider is how much money do you have to spend, and how much do you like Iron Spider? Because if you have a good amount of money to spend, you could get the Rebel Tech Iron Spider, which has more musculature, has better articulation. And you get way more accessories. It's just overall a better figure. But that figure right now is hovering, from what I can see, like the $100 range to I would say about $150 range. And if you want the black version, that's probably gonna cost you around $200. So really, what's your budget? What's your budget for the Iron Spider? If you're not trying to drop that much money on Iron Spider, definitely pick this guy up. But if you can afford the more expensive figure, go get it. Now, to be fair, that is, the Rebel Tech Iron Spider is a higher end figure. But if you just want the best version of a character or best rendition, I would say go for that. But also, like I said, what's your budget? If you're not trying to break the bank, or if you just don't like the way Rebel Tech or Yamaguchi does their figures, then maybe that figure wouldn't be for you. And in that case, you only have this to work with, which is a solid release on its own. But, for something that says, it says, you see this on the box? Let me move the camera real quick. Knocked over Spider-Man. It says 60 years, 60 amazing years. So this is a 60-year done knocked over Spider-Man. It's a 60th anniversary figure, more or less. And I think it could be a lot better for something that's supposed to be a 60th anniversary thing. But maybe I'm being too harsh. Also, one thing I completely forgot. I didn't give a rating for the articulation. Articulation, I gave it a I give it an 8. But 8, solid 8. Accessories is abysmal. I give that shit like a 3 or a 2. I don't, like I said, I don't feel right including the legs, because that's just a part of the character costume design. Now, to be fair, in my last review, I did include the cape as in part of accessories, but that was just because that was the best place I could think to put it. Overall, like I said, depending on your budget, pick this guy up. And until next time, once again, stay tuned for pictures at the end of the video. But until next time, the Reverse Flow out.